It's been 6 whole months since I last spoke to you guys about the Snackbox Micro. This little guy right here has been making a lot of waves since I last spoke about it on this channel, and it's pretty clear that the leverless controller is here to stay. Now, if you're still on the fence about getting yourself one of these controllers, I would make sure to check out the video in the description below. I'll leave a link for everyone to go check that out, since I already spoke about some of the intricacies of the controller. In today's video, I'm going to talk more about my overall experience over the last 6 months, and with the release of Street Fighter 6 on the horizon, I think this is a great time to give you guys my overall opinion on this controller. I'm going to talk about a few different things in this video, everything from the build quality of the controller, the learning curve, which has been a very popular question, and also the functionality, which is actually a very important topic. I'm going to start with the build quality first. Over the past 6 months, like everybody else, I have been gung-ho on the Street Fighter 6 open beta, which is the reason why I got this controller in the first place. I had a lot of issues playing Street Fighter on an arcade stick. I don't know why. Every other fighting game I've played, I've done relatively well using an arcade stick, but for some reason, playing Street Fighter was a challenge for me. And a lot of the suggestions I got was to go with a hitbox, go with a leverless controller, and see how that functions. And I'm very happy I did. And this controller is a really, really great little device. It's held up very well over the last 6 months. I've been playing a lot of the betas. I've played the demo constantly. And ever since I've been playing all of those versions of Street Fighter 6, I haven't had any issues with this controller. Did have some issues with the switch on this controller, which was very easily fixable. Of course, with the assistance from the team over at Junkfood Arcades, they helped me out in their Discord channel with getting this thing back up and running relatively quickly, and that was something I discussed in the other video. And I've taken some time to take it apart and put it back together, and it really just functions like a keyboard. So if you are a keyboard enthusiast, or you're into building your own keyboards, this is an excellent option. I do like the way it's built. I do still have some gripes as far as, it's really just a 3D printed shell with a PCB, a backplate. It's relatively simple. I would have liked to have seen maybe different materials used on the Snackbox, maybe a stronger polycarbonate option, maybe even carbon fiber, even an all steel case, or anything other than what we have, mainly because some of the edges on the Snackbox, if you are a bit of a stickler, some of the edges are a little bit uneven and it's not very aesthetically pleasing. Of course, you can buy extra accessories from Junkfoods directly, but they are a bit pricey. So again, just like if you are a keyboard enthusiast, you do know that that does get very expensive, and this is no exception to that. But if you are looking for something that works out of the box, you can plug it in and start playing with it, yeah, this is it. This is the one right here. But over the past 6 months, with just training and using it consistently, it has definitely held its own. I've adjusted to using it on top of a desk like my actual keyboard, and I've actually been adjusting to using it on my lap like I have with arcade sticks in the past. I will be buying the heavy metal plate as soon as it becomes available because I do want a little bit more heft to it. So if you are looking to get something that has a little bit more heft, this thing is incredibly light out of the box. The heavy metal plate will add a little bit more weight to it. Switches have held up great. I'm in the process of getting new switches to test out and see if I can maybe customize the overall feel of how the controller functions, which is really, really great. So yeah, I'm happy with the build quality for sure. Let's talk about the learning curve. I gotta say, it is not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. And I think after getting myself a little bit anxious about, am I making the right decision with spending this kind of money to essentially learn how to play fighting games in a completely different style, it really was not hard to adjust to. I also discussed this in the previous video, but after using it consistently for 6 months, I got to tell you guys, it's really only a matter of maybe a few hours of actually sitting down and taking time to lab with the game that you're playing, whether it be Street Fighter 6, Guilty Gear, Tekken, Mortal Kombat, whatever fighting game you're playing. There is going to be a bit of an adjustment, right? If anything, it's made playing fighting games even more enjoyable, which sounds kind of crazy. I love the nostalgic feel of an arcade stick. I don't think anyone would argue with that. In my old age, I grew up playing with an arcade stick, the ball top, the button layout, that Sanwa button feel. Like, that is what I am used to. And I've been playing on an arcade stick for the past 10 years. And yes, you can check my math on that because I started this YouTube channel a little bit more than 10 years ago, and I dedicated it to fighting games. And that whole time I was using an arcade stick and I was doing very well with it. But as far as learning something new, I think for me personally, it's been a very enjoyable experience. And then getting to see and look back at the progress that I've made just from playing the open beta and from playing the demo of Street Fighter, yeah, I'm actually impressed with myself. And I'm really glad that a controller such as a leverless controller is actually making fighting games a lot more accessible to people. So if you're concerned about running into a potential learning curve, figuring out, what do I do? How do I do things on this controller? There's plenty of resources, and I also plan on providing more resources to folks that are looking to learn more about how to play on a leverless controller, because I'm still learning, and the more I learn, especially the new things that I learn, I'm going to want to share it with you guys. So coming from me, somebody who's been using an arcade stick for a very long time, this has been very simple to learn and a lot of fun. And that's what's been very important to me, is having fun again playing fighting games. This controller has made playing fighting games fun for me. I do see myself getting frustrated at times because I have to kind of readjust where my hands are placed to do certain motions. But again, it's just a learning curve. You have to kind of adjust to your play style. Again, it's a lot of fun. I've actually been so intrigued by the leverless controllers that I've been kind of searching around the web to see what other options are out there. This one is definitely great as far as portability, how I can travel with it, and just seeing some of the other options out there. I want to see what other offerings are available to people, and seeing this uptick in people using the hitbox. The leverless controller layout is, it's really, really cool to see. The last thing I want to talk to you about is the functionality of it, because that's also very important, especially now with how tournaments are being ran for fighting games. And we still have a bunch of new releases coming up before the end of 2023. Plug and play is as easy as it gets. This will get the job done for sure. You can plug it into your PC, you can plug it into your PlayStation or your Xbox, and it's ready to rock. There's also software that you can use on your mobile device or on your desktop to update firmware and also make changes to SOCD, which I'll talk about a little bit. But out of the box, it's worked really well on most of the games that I've thrown at it. So if you're concerned about whether or not this is going to work with whatever system you're going to be playing fighting games on, you really shouldn't have a problem. Now, in my case, this particular model is the previous gen. This is the 2022 model. So this is the one before they released the PCB update for PS5, which is something I'm going to have to get for this. And don't worry, as soon as I get it, I'll make sure to show you guys a video on how to swap that out. But yes, getting to update this thing seems to be relatively straightforward, which is good. So if you do need to get a different PCB in order for it to work on a specific console, in this case, PS5, you can get that. Of course, you can buy a Snackbox with that PCB already pre-installed. However, everything is done on a pre-order basis. So if you're looking to get one, you might want to get on the list now, because you could be waiting a couple of months. But at the end of the day, it works, and that's what's important. Specifically with Street Fighter 6 and what Capcom has announced, there are a couple of rules and guidelines with leverless controllers that players do need to follow in order to participate in Capcom Pro Tour events. Now, the PCB for the PS5 that Snackbox has released for us will allow you to make the necessary changes that is in line with Capcom rules, which is their SOCD rules, which in short just means that when you press a certain sequence of buttons, a specific action happens after you press those buttons. So for example, when SOCD is off, you can essentially push up and down at the same time and you will always jump, versus when it is off or cleaned, when you press both of those buttons, you are in neutral, which is what Capcom is looking for. And that's on all leverless controllers. It's not specific to this. It's just with every single leverless controller out there. They need to have that. When you press that button sequence, you need to be in neutral. And yes, you will need to upgrade some of your hardware in order for that to work, because most of the Capcom Pro Tour events are going to be played on a PlayStation 5. I prefer for the tournaments to be played on PC. That's just me. I'm biased, but it is what it is. But there is a solution to the problem, so no need to fear. All in all, I think this was a great purchase. After the 6 months of actually using the controller, I'm very impressed with it. I'm very excited to get into customizing it and making it more of my own controller. And I am happy to say that I will be stepping back into the competitive scene and trying my best to do fairly well in this year's Capcom Pro Tour events, and I will be participating in tournaments with this controller here. No, I'm not sponsored, by the way. I probably should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. This video isn't endorsed by Junkfood Arcades. I just wanted to just give you guys my thoughts and opinions from the consumer standpoint, as I always do. So yeah, hopefully if you guys ever see me at a tournament, my Snackbox Micro will not look like this. It won't be plain Jane. I will be customizing it, and of course, I'll be taking you guys along the way and showing you how to actually do that, because it'll be the first time I'm ever doing it, and I think it'll be fun to show you anyway. I truly hope that this video helped you make your final decision on whether or not you decide you wanted to purchase one of these bad boys, and if you did, please let me know. Now I'm going to sign off and get back on this demo because Street Fighter 6 is launching in 48 hours from this video. I got to be ready. So I'll see you guys online. Take care.